Dolly here. Today I'm going to talk about elitism in the Gothic subculture. Oh my god, nobody's ever done this one before. Frankly, a lot of people are up in arms about this. Everybody's making a big deal about it, and it's made me think of a lot of how conflicting the whole elitism thing is. Because there are elements of elitism that I agree with, but there are a lot of elements that I do not agree with. So I've been feeling very conflicted about the whole subject, and hopefully I can add something new to the discussion that hasn't been talked about before. Let's just start by saying that just because someone doesn't consider you goth, that does not make them an elitist by any means. But that's already been established by many people on here. I don't believe I need to elaborate on that. I'm pretty sure everybody understands what I'm saying. However, I think it's time to define what an elitist actually is, because I find a lot of people on Facebook and whatnot or whatever, a lot of younger people, I used to do this myself, they don't define an elitist in the proper terms, meaning an elitist is something different than just somebody who's rude who happens to be goth. As many people did say on YouTube, just because you're an asshole doesn't mean you're an elitist, and vice versa. If you're an elitist, you believe that society, in this case our goth society or our subculture, should be led by and influenced by a small group of people who essentially make all the decisions and can constitute what's goth and what's not. And everyone who is an elitist agrees that this group of people, whether they be elder goths or what have you, should have the final word on what's goth, what's not, and who should be part of the subculture and who's cast off. I understand where some elitists are coming from, because there are some people that think that goth is whatever you want it to be, which I strongly disagree with. I'm all for open-mindedness, but I think that's just silly. The problem with goth is whatever you want it to be is that it leads to the whole subculture losing its entire meaning. If that were the case, if it was whatever you wanted it to be, realistically we should just call it human. But the whole concept of elitism is a tad extreme to me. I may be wrong, but it leads me to believe that I have to consult an external source or another person before I'm considered goth. And not just any external source, one that a certain group of people agree upon. I don't know if I'm making much sense, but I'm trying to get my thoughts out as best I can. That makes me think that I'm not in control anymore. I'm not in control of my identity, of how I want to identify myself, so that's one of the problems I have with the whole elitist thing. Again, like I said, I like the fact that there should be some rules, because otherwise there's no such thing as goth, and it's just whatever you want it to be, and then we'll just call it human, right? Again, I understand the need for structure at least some capacity, but it quite easily leads to exclusion, particularly of younger goths and those who are just getting into the scene. I've seen it happen here in Toronto time and time again. It's happened to me as a younger goth, and it's happened to a lot of other younger goths that I know. It usually goes something like this. There's a small group of goths who they dub themselves, or other people dub them as the elite, and they're the people who are the ultimate final word on what's goth and what's not in the city. One or two younger goths could go to a goth club to where the elite happen to be hanging out, just to check out the scene and to see what the other goths in the city are like. The elite stare them down, ignore them, and put them down if they're approached by these younger goths. They consider the Toronto goth scene to be rude and abrasive, and they just decide to either hide in their houses or abandon the goth scene altogether and move somewhere else. The elite then slowly drift apart. One moves to another city, 2 or 3 get office jobs and they can't find the time to be goth anymore. One starts a family, one dies, until the downtown goth scene is close to dead, and whoever's left is sitting at home filming YouTube videos. This is an extreme, and obviously elitists are not so discriminatory most of the time. Most aren't, frankly. Elitists can be very nice people. It tends to be an abundance of elitist assholes, and elitism tends to put your foot in the door for more assholey behavior to persist and continue. And to top it off, I don't have a solution for this problem. I don't think there is a solution for this problem. Any and all advice I can give you about this whole topic is you shouldn't take shit too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously, and don't take the goth label too seriously. Let the goth-obsessed neurotics worry about it and have a little fun. Life's too short to worry about if what's-his-name from down the block doesn't think you know enough about Joy Division to attend his Christmas party. Yes, the goth subculture is very much like a family. Almost everyone is quite accepting, 99% of the time. Even the elitists are quite nice and quite accepting, especially those who I've seen on YouTube. But there are, like I said, the elitists that take the term elitism and warp it and make it this this whole thing where they exclude certain people for very trivial and tiny things that end up killing any downtown scene, like I said here in Toronto. I don't think, like I said, I don't think elitism is necessarily right, but it does have its good points, and I don't think people should be misusing the word elitist anymore because, frankly, the word asshole works just as well. Like I said, there's not really a solution to this problem. I'm just basically getting my feelings out about it. I'm basically doing a kind of rant. But some people do take the subculture far too seriously. I know some elitists that do that. I mean, there's only so much of your life that can be taken up by the whole goth thing. I mean, I like weird stuff. I look weird. It's part of my life. But I don't constantly obsess over what's goth and what's not, because that's no way to live your life, really. You just be you. But a lot of people that share my views on that, about how you just be you, are also the people that say goth is whatever you want it to be, which, again, I think is quite stupid because that's just being human. Being human is whatever you want it to be. Being goth is liking dark things and, you know, gothic elements. I don't know. I'm not going to define goth. There are plenty of other videos that do so quite well. I think my favorite definition of goth is Voltaire's. You should check that one out. But honestly, it's too much of a waste of time to obsess over being goth. I know it's kind of hypocritical because I make a lot of being goth videos, but it's just to guide you in the right direction because there are a lot of people who don't necessarily know much about goth. But I'm trying to spread my wings a bit and talk about other things. I just thought I'd get this out of the way because a lot of people have been mentioning it and it's kind of getting on my nerves. Just enjoy life and be goth. And don't let other people tell you you're not goth because that's just stupid and it's none of their business anyways. Okay, I kind of rambled on and went into a tangent at the end, but anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.